Hi everyone, let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to explain what you do to your family and friends and gotten a blank look? Or is fear holding you and your online business back right now? Now, if you answered yes to either of those, you're going to love this month's free newsletter. How do you get a copy? Head on over to writecom.com now. And by the way, if you want to make more money with your online business, you are going to love our coffee bean money making idea inside. So head over to Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, and you'll find the newsletter waiting for you over there. Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from Writecom.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled, Life is a Journey and Not a Destination. Now, I'm sure you have heard that many, many times. I've heard it many, many times too. And when someone says that to me, my attention is never on the journey part of that quote. It's always on the destination. I think a lot of us are like that. We think a lot of the destination that we'd like to get to. You know, we like to think about all the maybe podcast listeners we are going to have sometime in the future. We're thinking of having that $1 million. We're thinking of having a sports car. We're thinking of an infinity pool. We are thinking, you know, my life will be so much better when I lose this weight, or when I've got this, or when I've got that. And we're always kind of looking off into the distance, looking for that special moment when everything is going to be perfect. But when you think about it, you know, when we do reach those magical moments, you know, of having those podcast listeners, or driving the sports car, or moving into the new house, it's just going to be another moment. It's just going to be a moment like you and I are sharing right now. There's nothing going to be magical about it. Okay, we might be excited. We may be, you know, feel fulfilled, or feel like this is a magical moment that we've been trying for so long. But, you know, 5 or 10 minutes later, you know, we'll already see the shine is going to go off that. It'll just kind of melt back into a normal moment. And living in that mansion, it'll seem ordinary after a while. You know, this is the house that we always have, or that we've always had 1,000 or 1 million podcast listeners. That it's always been that way. It's going to feel like a normal moment. You know, that moment of reaching that kind of pinnacle of success that we are constantly looking off to. It's never going to have like a huge fireworks display. It's never going to have like, you know, choirs singing from the heavens. None of that. You know, unless maybe we celebrate that moment to the rest of the world, probably not going to even notice that we've had that moment. And a lot of us kind of pin our happiness to that, you know, when we reach that moment, I'll be happy, I'll be successful, I will be, you know, I'll be somebody, I will be fantastic, I will be this, I'll be that when we reach that. But again, we're looking off in the distance, and we're ignoring today. We're ignoring how special today is, you know, because a lot of people, unfortunately, who maybe, you know, wake up this morning, mightn't see maybe this evening. Maybe they mightn't see tomorrow. And, you know, for us to kind of, you know, diminish the importance of today, or say to ourselves, you know, today isn't important. This moment over here in 6 months' time, or in a year from now, is going to be more important to me. That is my happy moment. And we're just kind of you know, looking off into the distance and not stopping for a moment and just appreciating the days that we have, the things that we can do right now. You know, not appreciating that extra maybe podcast listener we got today, or maybe the $10 extra we got today, or maybe an extra sale, or maybe someone leaving us a nice comment or something on some content we created. No, we're not interested in that. We are looking off. But you know the thing about when you look off like that, you know, when you find that when you do reach that magical moment, you're only there for a wee while, then you're getting depressed, it seems normal, and then you're looking off again. We're looking off for the next big thing. When I have my 2nd million, then I'll be happy. When I've got 2 sports cars in the garage, when I've got 100 million podcast listeners, then I'll be happy. So our happiness is always kind of tied off to sometime in the future, and we kind of lose ourselves in that, and we forget about the journey. You know, a lot of us sometimes think, well, I'll stay in this crappy job. I will do this kind of mind-numbing online business where I'm just using copying and paste all the time. time because I want to get to my, $10,000 a week or whatever that magical moment is. But I'm going to push myself through this horrible thing that I have to go through right now, because everything is going to be, it's going to smell of roses when we reach that magical moment. And again, too, we are just putting off our happiness today, working in a job that we probably hate, doing something that we have no kind of job satisfaction in, or that's not making us happy, or that's not, inspiring us, that we're not happy when we get up in the morning because we're thinking to ourselves, God, I have to go through this trudge. But there will be a happy month in 6 months from now. And we're just kind of, not appreciating today. All the magical things that could happen to us today. Even small things. Like, I've noticed this past couple of days as I've been, looking more through my camera and, zooming in on small things like maybe a flower or a plant or something like that. When you zoom in really, really close on something, it does kind of make you appreciate the small things that we walk past, and don't even take notice of. So if I was to say something to you today, it would be, again, like I unfortunately have done for a long time, is focusing on the destination and not appreciating the journey, not appreciating this moment we have together where you are just listening to this podcast. And hopefully maybe I'm inspiring you. Hopefully I am kind of making you wake out of the dream that I have been in, because, every day is special. Every day is, every moment is special. And a lot of us unfortunately are looking away off in the distance with our binoculars, hoping that when we reach this magical point that everything is going to be perfect. But again, I would say to you that, something, what if you never reached that magical moment? What if, this happiness of reaching those $1 million or having all those listeners or having this or having that, what if you don't reach that? Can you imagine that you're looking off for that moment and God forbid you drop dead? You never reach that moment. You look back on a life that wasn't happy. You just did the things you needed to do because you were saving yourself for that moment, and you just ignored all those days. You took them all for granted. They were all kind of stepping stones on the way to this big achievement. And instead of maybe just stopping for a moment and saying to yourself, something, could I be happy right now? Could I be happy with where I am? Could I be happy with the money I have in my bank account right now? Could I be happy with how much money's coming in today in my online business? Could I be happy at this moment? And if you can't be happy in this moment, that landmark or that milestone way down the road, 6 months from now, in a year from now, yes, it'll possibly come, but at least you've been happy every moment up until that moment, instead of kind of looking off and saying, I'll be happy when this happens, because sometimes, unfortunately, we don't even get to see that end result, and we kind of look back on a life that just was unhappiness, where we just kind of did things that didn't light up day, things that we're not proud of, and, a life that wasn't filled with satisfaction. So if I was to say anything to you, it would be something that I'm kind of reminding myself at the moment, is just to take your eyes off the destination and just kind of enjoy today, because you never know, today could be our last day. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Rightcome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.